Please stand for the pledge. Led by Legislator Clark.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the board meeting of September 9th. Just a reminder, if there is an emergency, please exit the rear of the building. Go to your vehicle. Please do not move until so directed by emergency service personnel. Also, just a reminder also, this is an open building. If you must, at the exit doors to the rear, smoking area. If there's an emergency, also just a reminder also, cross exit in the back of the building, there's also exit in front. Would you vote?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to get approval of the board meeting minutes of August 26th.
A motion to accept is presented.
Oh, here, on page 5, Trustee Keys stated, I did get a message from our felines who have notified me. Something was missing in that
I
sentence.
communicate very well. Actually gave you a call.
So it was the friends of the felines.
My friends of the team.
You got a message from the friends of the felines, not directly from the felines.
That's correct. Will be correct.
Very
Everything else,
intelligent.
I didn't see anything. I'll make the motion.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Bill for the period. Bill for the period. The top 5, CDA art space property. Here's CDA backup property using the art space we discussed at the last meeting, $192,000. Cronin and Cronin, tax certiorari for various properties, $48,000. Spray oil, $10,985.56. 92 octane gasoline. Global Monticello, which is diesel fuel, $10,239. P&M door, $8,254. Shelton Park and Van Shell. For a total of $137,522.15. Motion to accept the presented. Motion. Second. Second. In favor? Aye. Okay. On Friday, I received a call from the county that they were holding a meeting this morning in the planning department on the 4th floor of the Dennison building. Marion Russo and I went over. It had to do with the grant that we applied for, the sewer grant, for the sewer funds. And what that money was requested for was to do the sewer hookups for the properties on Sunset, Price, and Indian River Avenue to the amount of $578,000. And we received that grant. So going forward, we'll be running sewer lines, doing road raising, we'll be doing new drainage, but more importantly than anything else, we'll be doing the sewer hookups. I asked Legislator Clark to come this evening to explain the program, how it operates, what funds it's coming out of. The program is set up so that we will pay out the money, then get reimbursement from it. But I think that I'd ask Legislator Clark, who was instrumental. He worked very, very hard to get us this money because there were only 4, I think, that were selected, Robert.
4 projects.
4 projects out of 8 or 10 that were submitted, so I feel pretty privileged that we got it. Legislator Clark.
Thank you, Mayor Pontieri and trustees for having me come speak tonight. You're correct. This was a very highly competitive grant program. There were actually 12 applications for a total of $60 million in requests that were made out of it. The county only had about $30 million total available. The money's coming out of our sewer stabilization assessment fund. The reserve fund is used as primarily as a means for our existing sewer districts to mitigate the capital investments that they must make if they're going through time to make sure the plants are operating properly and up to proper efficiency. We were lucky enough to become flush in the fund and have excess funding available. So we wanted to make sure that we tried to make it available for projects that were, most importantly, construction ready, were municipal in use as opposed to private projects where possible. And we're going to do one of two things: either help contribute to economic development in our communities, or to improve environmental impacts. As we talk about water quality in our area, and this is more of an environmental, although the village has done a terrific job using their sewer plant as a means of economic development, this is really an environmental significance. By taking these homes, about 55 properties at the end of River Avenue, and allowing them to connect into the sewer system, you're going to no longer have those septic systems pretty much leaching straight into our bay. And especially when we have flooding events during Sandy, those sewers, their septic systems overflowed. We're going straight into the bay. When you talk about nitrogen in the bay, when you talk about the algal blooms and the dying off of our clam populations, it's directly attributed to this type of a problem. So this really alleviates that at a very economical price to the county. For $578,000, which is the county's contribution to the project, we're going to see a number of homes be taken out of connected into a sewer system. You'll get a proper amount of treatment. You'll greatly reduce that nitrogen coming into the water, and it's a terrific thing. As I said, this is actually a fully funded grant program. Some of the projects that submitted were going to be for loans, but being that this was under $1 million request from the village, it was able to be given out as a full grant. Of the 12 projects that were submitted, only 4 received approvals, and that shows to the high degree in which we evaluated projects. We wanted to make sure our money is being used well. There's not a lot of it. $30 million doesn't go far when you're talking about sewer infrastructure grants and sewer projects. So we wanted to make sure that it was being used well, that it was being leveraged for other funding sources, which certainly the village has done here in this situation, and that you were going to accomplish it, and that it was shovel-ready. We don't want to award money and have it sit around for 2 or 3 or 4 years waiting to get utilized. Because the village was prepared, they were able to get an application in that was fully detailed. You were able to really take a hold of it and grasp it. And it's really a testament to the village, to all the trustees, the mayor, that you are always on top of these things. This isn't the first grant that you've received from the county, and it's a testament to the work that you do here. So I'm very happy to be able to make this announcement. It's a great project. What will happen going forward from the county's perspective is now that the Sewer Infrastructure Committee, which was set up to try to review all the projects, they will make their recommendations. There'll be a resolution introduced before the legislature this Thursday at our legislative meeting. We will probably be able to act at it at our meeting in mid-October to officially award the grant. At that time, the village will be able to commence their project, and we'll reimburse you for the cost. And I guess the important thing to know is this money is going to be used to allow the homeowners to connect at no cost. When you look at it and the cost of connections being $10,000 per property, it gets very cost prohibitive very quickly. And this is going to make sure that all those homeowners can participate in this program, and they don't have to worry about finding that $10,000, which is really an important piece of the puzzle. A lot of times you could put a pipe down the road and you can do all the things. If there's not the money there for the homeowner to connect, they may not take advantage of it. And this is going to make sure all those people are able to take advantage of it immediately. And hopefully, before another storm hits, before we have the problems that we had, that Sandy presented, we'll have all these homes constructed. So congratulations, and we're happy. This is another great opportunity for the county working with the village.
Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate your help, because it doesn't happen without partnerships. And you are a partner to the village, and it's very much appreciated. But I think the other part about this that's different than the other ones when I said was, this is the only one, and it's the smallest out of the grants. There was $1 million one, there was a 4, a 6, and so forth. But it's the only one that goes directly to the resident. It's an enhancement to the resident themselves. Yeah, Northport will get, they're under consent order with their sewer plant, so that will have an effect on the entire community. But these affect people directly. Well, these 50-odd homes, the funding goes to them directly. And I think, Joe, one time you said you walked down and you had a woman say to the kids.
Yes, I went down several times. And, just thank you, Rob, for your efforts. This is really great. And to this administration, really for commitment to help those people down there. Because you said I've been down there several times, talking to people many times in the situation, what they've been through, what they go through, and the requests they've been helping. We've been kind of promising all along, and now it's here. So this is really exciting. It's great for them and great for us. Thank you, Rob.
I think I can't remember the woman I wish I could who said that she doesn't know her kids go and raised because the sewage bubbles up to the.
Yeah, people didn't do their watch for me sometimes.
But thank you very much. It's a huge thing for us. Little village, a $600,000 firm, $78,000 for residents. I think it's the best part about all of it.
It's a terrific project. River had received a grant for their downtown, and they're looking to do the things that you've led the way here in Patchogue Village doing. They're looking to bring that type of development to revive their downtown, and that sewer money out there is going to help them do that. But in this case, it's a great opportunity to deliver some assistance directly to the homeowners in our community.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm glad to be
No public hearings. Request approval to set a public hearing to eliminate the requirement of an annual filing for the renewal of a senior citizen's exemption by senior citizens who have received the exemption on 5 consecutive assessment rolls. We follow Brookhaven Town as far as their senior citizen exemption and property taxes. Up until this point, and Brookhaven Town just passed this, the state allows it. Anybody with those exemptions would have to come in every year and fill out the proper paperwork to continue that exemption. What this will do is that instead of having to fill out paperwork on a yearly basis, the only thing they would have to bring in is an affidavit, which would be available here, just indicating that they are still have ownership of the home and live in the home and do whatever. So it's a way to help our seniors not have to go through the trials and tribulations of trying to fill out these innumerable forms that you have to fill out. So I'd like to set a public hearing for this next board meeting,
Next board meeting, September 23rd.
September 23rd. Motion?
Motion.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Dennis Smith, are you here? Right, Mr. Kennedy. Chamber of Commerce. Pretty good one today.
Yes, it was, and thank you. First, good evening, and hello to everybody. And I was going to start by saying it was a very lovely lunch. I thank the mayor for hosting us and Representative Bid as we talk about some fall events and coordinating for the fall. You mentioned partnership with the county, and certainly the village has a great partnership with the chamber as well.
Well, I'd like to make a note that the owners of Main Street
Bistro.
actually, I was gonna be the guy to pay. They ended up paying.
Yes, we did thank Gasper and for Main Street. It was a wonderful lunch, and it was a very nice gesture on their part as well. Of course, I'll just start my report where I've been starting all summer long, and that's with the Live After 5. It'll be the last time I came to talk about that for about a year, but I do want to again say thank you to the village, to the 5th Precinct. It was great coordination. This was the first Thursday that I actually didn't have to look at the weather radar, which was a big surprise. I didn't know what to do with myself all afternoon, leading up to a Live After 5. But everyone, we got all 4 in, despite the weather threats. I think it was the first time in a few years that we actually did get all 4 of the events in this year. They were all very well attended, very well the public loved it. Well, we only got positive feedback from everybody involved. The return of the family aspect on a Thursday night was a huge plus, and we look forward to working with you again and putting the, our goal certainly is to once again have this again next year, and we look forward to working with the village and having another successful year. Now that the summer is over, our events do continue on. As has been mentioned before, we're really gearing up now for our September 21st pet parade. This will be the first time in many years there's been a pet parade here in Patchogue. It'll be going the East Main Street from South Ocean to Maple. Right now, it looks like about 50 pets are already signed up. This is in partnership with the Suffolk County Coalition Against Domestic Violence. And one reason, this is an awareness campaign for them, and having a meeting with them, they mentioned that certainly if there's somebody at home abusing their pet, most likely they're abusing others as well. So it certainly is an appropriate venue, an appropriate way to get their message out. After the September 21st pet parade, we have our annual St. Liberata Festival, September 28th, honoring John Ferrante, our Italian-American Person of the Year. That's looking great this year. We have an exceptional representation of all our restaurants this year that will be putting out food for the festival, really putting the feast in the festival this year like never before. We're having a big bocce ball tournament. I think that's going to be the most organized bocce ball tournament that we've ever had. Just to let everybody know, it's thanks to the Bargain Village. We're using the property between the Brookhaven Memorial Hospital Dialysis Center and the Bargain Village. That will be the bocce ball court over there. Tap room's going to do a little something to make sure everybody knows it's down there, and we're looking forward to all those activities as well. It kicks off at 12 noon that day with the parade, and of course we invite all our officials to please come down, join us for the parade, and if you want to say a few words, we would certainly welcome that. The next event after that will be October the 26th, and that'll be the Fall Festival. It'll be the first time the Chamber's ever had a Fall Festival on Main Street. And while we're talking about that, I do have some requests to bring up to the board in regards to that. The Riverfront Committee, as we mentioned last meeting, has formally requested our committee to join forces with some Fall Festival activities they'd like to do as well. They would like to coordinate and make it more of a Fall Festival day for the whole community. One thing what they're talking about doing is doing some more morning, early afternoon activities, and then bring the crowds up to Main Street. What they're tentatively proposing is that they're asking people to meet at the Fire Island National Seashore, where there'll be water transportation to take patrons to many of the various restaurants along the riverfront that will be offering a free breakfast. After the free breakfast, they'll have some Fall Festival activities at their respective places with the water transportation throughout the afternoon. I understand they've hired some pirates to be the hosts on these ferry trips, doing a little bit of a show along the way. The plan right now is what we would request from the village is I'd like to have everybody at a certain point in the afternoon, sometime I would assume around between 1 and 2, direct people back to the Finn's property and have some sort of, for lack of better phrasing, parade or just a walk, a mass walk up to Main Street from the ferry terminal to Main Street. Logistically, that would really be what the village would feel would be appropriate. I know Trustee Hilton has been meeting with the committee as well, is aware of what these plans are. I'm going to be meeting with this committee on Wednesday to kind of get a more definitive timing, but certainly want to let the village know. I don't know what approvals we would need. I really leave that up to Trustee Hilton to let us know, or what formal requests it would require from us.
Well, thanks, David. At the last meeting last Tuesday night, the committee had suggested the parade route to go to South Ocean Avenue and then up to the center of town. And we're not able to use South Ocean anymore because it's the major southbound route of the fire department now.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be something that I would suggest you talk to them about. We threw out West Avenue, which they were less interested in because it's bringing them to the side of the parade, side of Main Street, but not going into the center. But
Logistically, it makes the most sense, and I can understand it's a straight run.
our hands are tied on that one.
Sure. Okay, I'll definitely pass that along. I'm sure whatever the village suggests would work out just as fine. So
Right.
I would have no qualms about that. Pass that along. In relation to the Riverfront Committee angle of some of this stuff too, one of my goals certainly is, the Riverfront Committee's kind of acted independently over the last few years, and my cooperation with them this year is in hopes of kind of bringing the Riverfront Committee back under the umbrella of the Chamber. And certainly one of the big events that they always hold is the annual boat parade, which is always the Sunday before Thanksgiving, and I forgot to look on the calendar exactly what that day is this year.
It is
But I think it's the 22nd or 21st.
20,
Oh, you got the, I didn't even see the post yet. What's the date?
the 24th.
24th. All
24th
right.
is this Sunday.
Close enough. Yeah, with that, I know there was talk about in the last meeting about fireworks, and since the last meeting, I at least got a clearer picture from that committee what they were talking about. In the past parades, you might be aware, there were what they call illuminations, where their boat will be going down along with the parade, and at certain points along the river, it shoots off like sparkle kind of into the sky, which is what they call illuminations. I think the committee, the Riverfront Committee's hope was this year is that they would separate that from the parade and ask to have it done on a Friday. I think the message has been clearly sent to them that doing it on a Friday and having it 2 days really would be a burden to the public down there in the south end of town. And I think they understand that, so my understanding is their request would be to do that on the Sunday, that include that again in the parade as in the past. So I don't know if I'm, again, we can make that formal request now for approval, or that's something for a later date.
But once they solidify that they're going to do it, I was in contact with Chief Perry today, in contact with both the Coast Guard and, Grucci's fireworks, and we've recommended that if they're going to do the fireworks, that they get on the same night as they do the parade. We've done it that other time. They have certain places that they set up and do it. The impact of us trying to do something on 2 nights on a Friday, maybe on Friday, is logistically both for the fire department and for the village, it's just very difficult. So,
Okay, I'll definitely relay that message.
yeah.
I mean, I did volunteer that, the requests and approvals that we made, I would make it on their behalf. And at least with the boat parade, as far as I know, I think the only thing we've always requested is like, some cans and some barricades that are set up for us. And I'll make sure that's in writing. I don't know if a formal approval to hold the festival is necessary. I know I need the town's approval to use the property at Sandspit, which we've done in the past, and I'll certainly get that application in. So I just maybe more clarification, Bill. Should I be seeking for formal approval for the date of the 24th to hold the parade, or just for the fireworks angle, the
I think
illuminations?
the
angle?
fireworks, the whole thing is,
Mhm.
not that we can approve the use and not use of the river, but at least we formalize it in terms of what we need, whether it be insurance and those other kinds of things, and if it comes through the chamber, it works like that.
Perfect. Thank you very much on that. And just, a few things, dates of the, important dates of the chamber that are coming up. I'm sorry.
Before you leave that, do I understand they're gonna shuttle people on the river?
Yes.
Is that what I'm saying?
They've already hired the ferry. The ferry.
They've hired?
Yes, I believe they've already made a contract with the Sherman family to utilize the ferry. And I believe it's more than one, at least, I'm not as involved with the riverfront angle of it, but I believe that there's 2 or 3 weekends in a row they're going to be utilizing this ferry as part of what they're calling a haunted boat ride, where people will get on the ferry and be entertained by some actors who are doing some pirates or something. I understand there might have been a Rocky Horror Picture Show angle to it that they were talking about, so I'm not 100% clear on all of what they're doing for the weekend. But at least for that Sunday, yes, the plan is, the way I've been explained, is that the Sunday morning, ask people to come to the Finn site, and there would be a ferry that would take people to different places for enjoy a free breakfast. I think some places are going to have like a pumpkin picking or scarecrow making or things to that nature.
So you get on the ferry at the primary ferry site,
Mm-hmm.
but then you get off at the Ore?
Yeah, I guess apparently they're going to take them to the Ore. I was involved, the Harbor Crab, and the Off TT, I believe, are the 3 locations that are have committed to be involved with this. I mean, I think, in the past, the Ore has held the Fall Festival.
Yes.
I think, that they're gonna, whatever they've been done in the past is gonna be in concert with the rest of this, with the rest of these activities. Okay. All right, other upcoming dates, chamber related. September 17th is our annual meeting. It's where we'll be electing our slate of office for the year, and putting our budget together and setting our agenda. It's 8 a.m. at the temple. Certainly any member in good standing is always invited to this meeting, and we always invite our guests to come down. Certainly any of our elected officials are more than welcome to come and join us if they'd like. More in the fun area is our annual meeting to the casino at Davis Park. It's one of our most popular meetings. That's September the 26th. It's a Thursday night. The ferry leaves 5:30 from the Davis Park Ferry Terminal site. Gets you to the casino by 6:15 for some dinner and hopefully some entertainment and some good times on the water. The plan is by 8:45 you'd meet the ferry and be back to Patchogue by 9:30. This is open to anybody. It's $50 a person, which includes the ferry transportation and the dinner at the casino. And again, we would certainly welcome any of our officials to come and join us. October 16th is our annual installation dinner. We'll install the officers elected on the 17th of September. This year, we are honoring our waterfront, riverfront businesses. All of them are the honorees. We're honoring our waterfront and our riverfront is the theme of our installation this year. And just a couple other things I wanted to note too with the Live After 5, just as my job to pass information along. Some of our vendors consistently throughout the festival were complaining about some of the sewer odor. This year, as we do every year, we try to rotate back and forth from side to street to side street. We were on the sewer line. I've explained, hey, you're on the sewer line, that these things are going to happen. I did notice it a couple of times, John. I don't know if there's really anything other than just hold your nose sometimes. But, it was something that I did say I would pass along to the village. I was thankful that I just went to the mayor the other day, and it's nice to see that Patchogue is a very popular place to film movies these days. We did have a short film, I believe, that was on Friday afternoon that was being filmed in and around the Tri-Tech area, and we certainly welcome that. I think it's like the third time in the last 5 years film crews come down to Patchogue. Just one thing I did, a couple of businesses, particularly Bridgehampton Bank, wasn't aware, they set up a big tent behind them and they were a little startled. And Blums as well, I appreciate Blums.
Yeah.
So, I mean, certainly if I get a week ahead notice, I'll certainly pass it around to the businesses so they're aware
They
it's coming.
weren't supposed to put it up there. They're supposed
Thank
to
you.
put it in the other line. That was not supposed to happen.
And Mark, I didn't get a chance to talk to you today. I wanted to hear how Eve's doing. Any update on Eve?
He's weak, but it's gonna take a long time.
Yeah, is he home?
Yeah, he's home.
He's home.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, certainly on behalf of everybody in the chamber, I'm sure the village would wish Abe a quick.
It's gonna take a long time.
All right, unless anybody else has got any questions, that's my report for today.
David,
All right,
thank you.
thank you. You guys have a great
Thank you,
Mayor Panieri. Tonight we have a presentation from Baldessano Associates regarding theater replacement, the roof replacement. I just want to say a little bit about it. Over the past few years, the theater has been experiencing leaks in the roof, which has inconvenienced a number of guests at the theater and backstage, etc. And water falling on seats and people. And we've known that we have to get the theater roof done. Recently, now the damage has been visible to the inside ceiling of the theater with water coming down. And the need for a new roof has been known from the theater and from the village for a little while now. Just like to say that the Patchogue Theater is arguably the most valuable asset, except maybe for the sewer plant, of village property. What it brings to the village is immeasurable as far as revenue to the stores, restaurants, and just the people who come into the village to enjoy what we have here. So we met with Baldessano and Associates, Trustee Keys, Superintendent of Highways Joe Dean, and we met with them and they put together a plan or proposal for replacing the roof on the theater. Currently, it's just an asphalt shingle roof, and we want to get something that's going to last a long time, be very durable, and protect our biggest asset in our downtown area. So, Alex Badalamenti from Baldessano Associates.
for the village board. I have 6 copies, so we appreciate copies. Thank you. Alex Badalamenti, Principal, Bella Center Architects. We're at 31 West Main Street in Patchogue. And as most of you know, we were the architects for the YMCA and our building at 31 West Main. We were asked by DPW to take a look at the condition of the existing roof and make a recommendation. We put together a number of details and sketches so that we could get a comprehensive cost together for the village before we went any further. Hopefully, if it's acceptable, we will develop a set of working drawings for construction, bidding, and then ultimately construction. Because Tritech is mobilized in the village, we asked Tritech to do us a favor and put some numbers together for us, which they did at no cost to the village, which we presented to you. The original roof, or the roof that's on the building now is, as Jack mentioned, fiberglass asphaltic shingles. It's the kind of roof you use on a residence. It's failing, and it's failing not only in the roof membrane, but also in all its flashing conditions, especially coming up the proscenium wall where the fly gallery is. We've looked at a number of different options. First was to replace it in kind with another asphaltic, a little higher grade asphaltic membrane and fiberglass shingle. The material cost alone for that, the square footage I should mention for the roof is about 11,000 square feet, and then we have about 1,000 square feet of vertical wall that needs to be covered. We're only talking about the pitched section of the upper roof over the auditorium, the main part of the roof. We got a material cost of about $20,000 just to replace it in kind with material. That it doesn't include labor, demolition, just the cost of the roof itself. We then looked at the possibility of doing a fiberglass shingle, which looks like a fiberglass slate. It's a kind of a faux slate. The cost of that product for the same square footage and material cost is about $50,000. We also looked at a standing seam metal roof, which this is a small piece of. Standing seam metal roof is also expensive, and the cost of that material cost was about $40,000. It is our opinion that the appropriate material for that roof should be the standing seam metal roof for a number of reasons. One, it comes pre-insulated. It comes in large sheets, so the downtime and erection time would be more appropriate. Plus, historically, either a lead-coated copper standing seam or a copper standing seam roof would have been on a building with this shallow of a pitch. We don't believe the fiberglass shingles will last more than 10 to 15 years. That's about the lifespan we're seeing on the current roof. The standing seam metal roof should have about a 50-plus year lifespan to it. We had Tritech put the numbers together. The total cost is approximately $360,000. That includes protection, demolition, erection, detailing, insulation, everything that comes together. And I've handed you a breakdown of those costs. If you'd like me to go through each of them, we can go through what each of them stand for. Or I'll end now.
Is, when you talk about roof demolition, is that a rebuild of the structure itself? You know, or is it just taking off and pulling off the single that are lining now?
Yeah, it's stripping the fiberglass membrane down to the sheathing.
Okay.
We examined the sheathing and the trusses on the upper floor. We were up in the attic. It's all in very good condition. So there's been no deterioration of the structure. So the sheathing's in very good shape. So that needs to be demolished. the upper surface, the roofing surface. Then it needs to be ice shielded, protected, damp proof, and then the new insulation, you know, it's a backed insulation board, and then the metal roof gets installed on top of that.
The other two, the fiberglass and the ash, and the other shingle there, is the cost of that similar to this?
Yeah.
If you use those, would you be that $300,000?
Yeah, the faux slate would be more expensive, so it'd be more than, because it's material cost, the metal is $40,000 and that was $50,000. So you're looking at probably another maybe $60,000 to $70,000 of cost, because there's more labor, because of a lot smaller pieces.
Well, that was my question.
Right.
Is the labor cost different on these when you go from one type to the other type?
Yeah, they're very different. One has a lot of pieces, the other needs a commercial contractor to install it because of the size of the panels, the way they're boomed up. But the metal is kind of the middle of the road. It seems to be the right application. We also did a rendering, we think aesthetically. We've picked a warm gray color, we think aesthetically it's actually the right solution for the roof. The one, Paul, that we didn't mention, we also looked at real slate, and that's prohibitively expensive. It's easily 2 to 3 times the cost of the faux slate.
Isn't the metal valid?
Well, it's insulated.
Right.
So it's backed as a sandwich panel. There are metal cleats that are attached every 12 inches or so vertically, so it attaches it down below. So it doesn't pierce the metal, but also it'll hold it. So any noise coming off rain or snow, whatever, is actually dampened by the insulation backing on it. So overall, no, you should not hear it.
Now, Alex, besides the fact that this roof will last 50 years as opposed to, what, 15
10
years?
to 15.
10 to 15 years. One of the other benefits of the standing seam roof, we know the aesthetic, and one of the things that we spoke about as part of the process was that we wanted to keep the nostalgic look of the theater and go with something that would most likely have been used back in the 1920s to keep that look to it. Just explain a little bit about the protected nature of this standing seam and what's underneath it and how much better it is.
First off, we're looking at a high quality standing seam metal roof, not a retail standing seam metal roof. So even the panel that I have here is a thicker gauge, and there are also interim ribs. So you get a lot of detail in it, and then the height of the standing seam is lower. So it's more of a classic look. Back in the 20s, a building of this size would have been done out of lead-coated copper. They would have made it in strips, they would have bent it up, done exactly what that aluminum panel is doing, but it would have been a lot smaller pieces, and environmentally it's not allowed. Alternatively, it would have been done in copper, the same thing, natural copper. But I think for this building, to spend for a copper roof, that would patina would be exorbitant, and the amount that you actually see this roof, I mean, we walked all around it, you have to be in the parking lot on the north side or elevated to the 3rd or 4th floor as in one of the new residences to actually see it. So I think you get the nice compromise of aesthetic, longevity, cost, and overall, I personally and we feel that this is the right application. And it is historically appropriate.
And in your going into the theater and looking at the roof, what was your assessment of the current condition of the roof?
The roof is failing. The current roof is failing. It's a residential grade fiberglass roof, and it's failing from the sun, which is beating down on it pretty persistently, and it's failing at all the number of pieces that are there. Anytime somebody walks on it, another shingle will tear off, and where all the flashings and all the joints that it comes together is extremely, in poor condition.
We currently have an issue where the auditorium roof means the proscenium roof, where water has leaked down. Will this clear up that problem?
Yeah, what we have proposed is on that south-facing proscenium wall. We're ferring out the wall because it's currently terracotta, so to touch it, you kind of lose it. But we've added ferring strips to it, and we're using the same roofing membrane and roof on the vertical surface, as if the roof would come across and then up that proscenium. So it's one integral roof that comes down the vertical wall and then across the horizontal like that.
You would bend it so it would,
No, it's actually joined at the bottom, but
okay,
yeah, but it's you know, one laps over the other,
right.
so that they allow themselves to move, but then they're flashed behind, and the flashing is actually concealed so it doesn't break down from the sun.
So, yeah, the way I want to explain, make sure everybody understands that it's not like putting a roof on a house.
No,
You
not
just
at all.
strip off the old and put on a new roof. There's, now what about damage that's occurred to the roof itself? How much of in this cost is involved in repairing the sheathing or anything else?
Well, we didn't see any, but we had tried to estimate about 10% replacement of the underlayment of the sheathing, which we thought was a pretty fair assessment of plywood that needed to be replaced.
And this would be done, I noticed here, prevailing wage.
Yeah, it's all prevailing wage, which is costly, and also requires a certain caliber contractor to do it. And the commercial installation of a roof like this also requires a certain caliber of contract to install it, because they're big pieces, they're not easily handled, it has to be sequenced in its installation. And the largest cost is probably the protection of the auditorium below. That during off times, down times, when this installation has to take place, so nobody's inconvenienced.
And as far as the guarantee, warranty guarantee, is a guarantee or a warranty, whatever?
Yeah.
Whatever that is, I mean, it's based on using a particular contractor to install it, so we can't just go out and find somebody to put this roof in. So if you talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, there are two requirements. One is the installation and the labor. It needs to be a system, meaning that the manufacturer needs to approve the full system, and they need to accept the way in which it's installed, that it meets their requirements, so that they'll give you the guarantee or warranty on the roof. The other is your insurance carrier for the building will also have additional requirements on wind uploads, detailing, because their investment is being protected as well. So they'll also review the type of roof that's being installed on the theater to make sure it meets their engineering requirements as well.
This includes, you know, some of the things that we're looking at here includes, it includes the gutters and drains.
Correct.
And also, what do they call the things to keep the snow from falling off?
Yeah, they're called snow guards.
Snow guards.
We call them snow fence here, but those are those little decorative pieces that are put there to keep any sheets of ice from falling off the side.
What's the build-out time on this? From the day they start to, you know, obviously, weather is a factor.
Yeah, I think it depends on when we start. I actually didn't ask Tech, but I assume it's probably about a 3-month installation period.
Okay.
Would be my guess.
And in that 3-month installation period, we're at the demand of the theater too, because we can't be banging hammers when there's shows going on during the
Correct.
daytime, so.
Correct. The theater provided us with a schedule of events and periods. That was given to TriTech as well, that they have to work around the theater's schedule, especially for noise, obviously water. During, when the old roof is taken off, there has to be temporary protection put on as they sequence the new, because you can't have it left exposed.
So in the lifetime of, a 50-year lifetime of this roof, if we used asphaltic shingles or those other, we could replace this roof 2-3 times if we use those
That's correct.
materials. Where in fact this, we wouldn't have to go back to this for another 50 or so years. And if it fails in some way before that time, is it 100% guaranteed? How does that work?
Yeah, we'd have to get the manufacturer, whichever one. I think that's the next level of conversation, and have them give you guarantees and warranties that you're expecting on the, it's usually on the installation, not the material, but that would have to be, you know, vetted out.
Okay, and the underneath the actual panel, it's not just tar paper.
No.
Explain what that's about.
Okay, there's a condition called snow damming or ice damming. When water at the edge and ice build up, it tends to migrate under the roofing membrane itself. So we have a ice damming membrane with a very thick membrane for 3 to 4 feet of the entire perimeter that's put down to prevent that from happening. Under that and all the way up the roof is a new damp-proof and waterproof membrane that goes down. It's self-healing so that as they put the cleats in for the roof itself, it doesn't penetrate into the ceiling below. Those clamps then hold the metal, which is about a 24 gauge, which is a fairly thick metal. It holds the metal and the insulation. And then as we get up to the top, there's a venting system too that allows air to come in through the eaves, under the rafters, and vent and get air out. So it'll take the hot air also out of the attic and help to pull that attic on the summertime.
Is there currently an air vent?
Not that I'm aware.
Oh, good, great, thank you very much. The variable costs associated with materials are $10,000 to $20,000. The smaller stuff costs more dollars to install.
Correct.
If you look at the budget for this, I mean, most of these items are the same no matter what goes on. So, whether you put asphalt piles, cheapo stuff, or the good stuff, the conditions and cleanings in the dumpsters are the same, insurance is the same, the fees are the same, the supervision overhead is the same. I mean, it doesn't look like, there's really not a lot of plans.
But the installation, labor costs are,
Or
which is the most labor intensive?
Probably the slate would be the most labor intensive.
The faux slate?
No, the real slate.
Real slate.
Would be the most labor intensive. The faux slate would be the next labor intensive. The metal is labor intensive, but it's a very different type of crew. You need to be able to handle a much larger panel. Because these panels are very long. They're not very wide, they're only 18 inches wide, but they're 20 feet long. So the logistics of handling a metal panel takes a more sophisticated contractor. So there are less people that can handle that type of roofing installation. But you're correct, that the material costs are relatively the same. It's the labor, ultimately the labor that's your largest cost. So back to your question, in 15 years, as a replacement, you have to consider it's not the cost of the roof that's expensive, it's the labor and the setup costs, which are going to be the same, that you have to spend again.
And here in the village, as a lot of people know, we have a pigeon problem.
Right.
Does this material protect the wetland from pigeon droppings?
I'm not a pigeon expert. What we've done, and what we did on our building, because it was a problem, was we put a low voltage strip which keeps the pigeons from roosting. As long as they don't, it's not damaging to the pigeons, but they don't like the landowner. As long as they're not roosting, they don't come back. So our building does not have a pigeon problem. This is a steep, fairly steep roof, so I'd be surprised, but we certainly have to ask to see if we can get any connection to it.
You don't electrocute pigeons.
No.
A little sick, right?
Toasted pigeon.
No.
Any other questions by the board? I think what I'm going to do is over the next week or so, we'll sit down with Peter Sarich.
Yep.
Once this gets, if we go this way, and take a look at it,
Yep.
and talk about the good process.
One thing, we have a few members of the peer board here, Chris Capienko, John Cassas. Do you guys have any questions or any thoughts before Alex is finished with the
The
presentation?
noise question is an important one. If we're in the middle of a performance and it's a really quiet music and it starts pouring, are we going to hear that metal roof?
No.
So, I mean, you answered that, but I mean, I could see that be a question that we would get asked.
Absolutely.
John?
No, just wonderful to see forward movement on such an important topic.
Amen.
What about the heat and the sun? Will that bother it?
No.
Oh.
No.
And we also did, one of the things we talked about in the actual design phase, when we talked about the product reviews, was taking account reflection,
Correct.
and especially for the new residents over in the new village who live on the east-facing side, they're gonna see this roof. And there may be a point in time of day when the sun goes to a certain level where it would reflect off a metal roof, and this wouldn't
Yeah, this
create
is,
that problem.
yeah, well, it's painted, you know, it's actually anodized painted, so we picked a very soft gray. You know, there's a lot of different tones, but it mimics a slate color, and I think actually it'll be appropriate for the color of the brick, and also minimize the reflections off the roof.
You see metal, aluminum?
It's aluminum.
Stands painted every 15 years?
No. No.
In the last 50 years.
Yeah, it's a, you know, it's a doorknob paint color, you know, it's electrostatically put on there, it should last the life of the roof, and it doesn't fade, that's the other part. Not supposed to fade.
But a certain patina will come to it over the years, right? That
Well, you're gonna get soot, and you're gonna get other things that will patina the roof over time, correct?
can be clean.
Absolutely, absolutely, but it shouldn't need to be,
Right.
but yes, it can be.
The last 2 years. The last 2 years.
In the last 50 years, so long after we've seen our last performance.
So what, Mr. Mayor, just appreciate your presentation, it's very helpful, and looking forward to getting this very quickly, but what other companies are we going to review, or how are we going to submit this?
We'll have to put a bid package together, and then we'll have to bid.
Right,
Yeah, try to just
put this together, proposal. I appreciate their efforts and the time that they've committed to this, and just, before we're going forward to spend, what they're estimating, $360,000, and then to get other proposals
Yes.
and other opinions and suggestions, so that's just,
That's why I want to meet with Peter, take a look at it, see what there are other options. $58,000 is a lot of money at this point, but, you know, Jack made a point. If there's a sewer plant, it's the most expensive thing we have, right?
And I think we just have to remember that, you know, the guarantee on this roof is based on a certain contractor, so we don't want to lose that 50-year guarantee.
Correct.
We want to make sure that's always in place, so if something does fail on the roof, the village is protected, unlike what we have now, where we have no protection.
those guarantees come from the manufacturer.
Manufacturer, right?
Not the contractor.
Not the contractor. Well, it's the manufacturer who approves the contract.
That's correct, but ultimately you want the manufacturers.
Yeah, right.
It's the,
Oh, okay.
And they will only guarantee it if a certain
correct.
contractor that knows this, that they.
Yeah, they have training, they have a lot of, you know, procedural things, they need to protect their investment.
Now, this is just Valdesano's plan and design. TriTech just gave us some prices.
That's
It had anything to do with design and plan, right?
That's correct.
And they're guesstimates.
Correct.
And again, they did this as a courtesy to the village, just to get us sort of, you know, our heads into where this is going to go.
Yeah, it saved the village the cost of sending it to an independent cost estimator, which can be tens of thousands of dollars just to get a number. So they were very kind in doing it as, you know, as generous.
Obviously, we're hoping that when we go to bid, we find TriTech to be in error, maybe $100,000.
Well, you might, you know, it's not unusual when you go to bid, because they're estimating based off sketches, that as it gets more detailed, it many times goes up and many times it goes down, because now they're in competitive mode. And it's up to you who that bidder list is. They didn't do this expecting to be the bidder for the project. They did it again as a favor to us and to you guys, just to help move the process forward.
And Chief Building Inspector Sarich and Superintendent Dean are the ones who are,
Right.
like, clerk of the works.
So Peter now will take,
Dealing with.
now is the next step, because it becomes a building process now, putting together the bid package, and taking a look at what's being proposed, and what he's gonna have to do with the stores.
If we limit it to this material in the bid, then only qualified installers can bid on
Well,
it.
that's what it would be. It would be written with this material. And
Yeah, well, I think that, you know, Joe is, you know, a couple meetings and we all were. And I think the assessment of all involved were that this material is,
And the bid package will be specific to that.
yeah. And as we said, the difference in price of the material is not really where the cost is. It's in the installation and demolition.
And protection.
And protection.
Any other questions?
Thanks.
Thank you.
No, that's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, fellow board members, ladies and gentlemen, briefly, not too much tonight. Mr. Deputy Mayor, we are meeting with Jade for this week. So hopefully that will be started. Also, Mr. Mayor, I know we've been getting some, we want to talk about it the other day a little bit, we get some complaints about missing lights on Ocean Avenue, which is just can't kind of seem to keep up with. Having a part-time electrician 6 hours a week, sometimes it is hard for us to keep up. I proposed to Superintendent Dean that we, county contract, just come in and do a blitz on North Ocean Avenue to get us up to snuff, otherwise we'll never get caught. That's sure not gonna happen. Joe can work on that. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to compliment both you and Superintendent Dean on hammering out what I think is something huge for the village, that our SOPA services negotiation and agreement with the county. As most of you know, we've been supplied salt by the town for years, until last winter when it became apparent that we're going to have to start purchasing the salt, and that's big enough for us. But thanks for this agreement, we're going to do some services for the county, minimal. I know the Advance ran the article recently. Minimal to us because it's stuff that's done in our own neighborhood anyway. It's not like we're really using any extra resources or man hours. But big for us is that we're going to get salt as needed throughout the winter. And I mean, ballpark figure, my own calculation of this could be $60,000, $70,000 savings for us, for the village. I think that's huge. Hats off to both you and Joe for having that out. Plus, the CDA reports, the board is very thankful for that $119,000. Appreciate that. It got the wheels turning into some projects that we didn't know that we were going to be able to think about. Now we can. Just talk, maybe the bathrooms over here, but this, as a board, there's a whole lot of different ideas going on. This $119,000 would be extremely helpful. Information for the public. On October 3rd, the CDA will be having a public hearing, and it's going to start at 5 o'clock. Normally start at 7, 5 o'clock meeting. Public hearing regarding the use of our CDBG funds, county development block grant funds that we receive every year. So that's open to the public to come and do it. Our plans are obviously to express what we have in meetings anyway. As far as my wish list, Mr. Mayor, that first item, requesting only that Joe Dean attend the NICOM conference on October 21st to 23rd in Lake Placid. And so the cost, I guess, will be after what you have, whatever that is. It's a public works conference, and the itinerary and agenda really did look interesting. I regret that I'm not going to be able to make it myself, but I think it is something that would be helpful to Joe if you could come back and give some information that would be so that's the motion. Thank you. And also requesting approval to allow the Village of Patchogue to purchase from Western Suffolk Proceedings Joint Municipal Cooperative Bidding Program. In other words, we can purchase services and the material from their contract. We actually have one of Eastern Proceedings, but they actually charge fees and stuff. Western Suffolk is so much easier to work with, and they don't charge us anything. So that as well would be very helpful to the DPW and to the village. So that's a motion.
Second.
Second.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I believe that's all we have. Thank you.
Nothing for this evening, Mr. Mayor. Likewise, nothing.
I would just like to say that the newly paid girls are looking fantastic. Academies. Various places I turn the corner and it's like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, the only good is, once you get started, you just want to keep going. And,
Right.
in fact, I got stopped at one neighbors today. I had the happy with the condition. I blamed you, by the way. But I'm sure you'll do me the same favor. But at any rate, yeah, I know next year we talked about,
Yeah, it looks great.
maybe come up with some quick money, big money, and maybe kind of, you know,
Nice job. I only have two arts-related events. Just want to remind the public and all the trustees that on September 15th, which is this Sunday, from 4 to 6 p.m. is the reception for the Artists of the Lobby exhibit at the Patchogue Arts Council on Terrace Street. This is, it's Sunday, from 4 to 6. I will remind you, I did send it to Patty, as I always put it on everyone's calendar, but I will remind you. But it'll be 5 years, each artist that's exhibited in the lobby, and the lobby was the first Patchogue Arts Council exhibition space. Each artist will have at least one piece in the show, and the artist will be present. And we will be serving in a little sparkling wine.
what is that, theater? You said
What's
the
that?
lobby is going to be?
The theater lobby is the exhibit space that we're honoring, but the show, 5 years of the lobby, is in the art space building where Patchogue Arts Council is located. So the show is up now, but the reception is next Sunday from 4 to 6. While you're at art space, there's a reception from 5 to 7 in the art space gallery. Linda Abadigian, I think you know her. You will recognize, she's a little baby, Julian, her
Yes.
husband Mark. She was born in Lebanon, and this is going to be a show, memories of her Lebanese childhood. So she'd love to
Paintings
have.
or photos or?
She does paintings and drawings and like mixed media.
Oh, really?
Some of the pieces I've seen very poignant. You know, she was in Lebanon as a child during wartime. Considering the things going on in the Middle East now, it's fairly relevant. But her reception is from 5 to 7, so they overlap. But I'll send you a reminder for both. I think it'd be worthwhile to come down to both shows. And the Patchogue Arts Council will be honoring the village and the theater for their support over the years. And that's all I have.
Trustee,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, trustees, guests. First of all, I'd like to, we had the Old Timers came on Saturday, the 30th annual.
that was great.
Yeah. And it was a great game. They played 7 full innings.
Anybody that lived, survived?
Everybody, these guys are great.
No broken phones?
No, no.
Excuse me, Chuck, can you do a little accommodation to the umpire
Oh, that's
who
right.
pitched in?
The umpire was a third generation Krieger to stand behind the plate.
That's right.
Tom Krieger filled in at the last minute because the gentleman who was supposed to umpire didn't show up.
Smart guy.
You know, these old guys. So, but the game was terrific. Turnout was fabulous, and we dedicated the shorefront field to Sam Perry, who passed away last year. And there's a beautiful, if you get down there, there's a beautiful plaque dedicating that field, and from here on, it will be referred to as Perry Field. If you hear that, that's where it is. So, once again, thank you for everybody who turned out. It was a great day. The weather was beautiful.
Just a piece of, dedicating anything to somebody, I always have a hard time with it just because I think that you really have to put your time in it. Sam Perry played on who the father in the 50s.
He started in the 50s.
So, I mean, he really, and the old timers, he started 30 years ago, but he's just been so dedicated to this village, this community, that very deserving.
Yeah.
And also the town of Cambridge, too, he's extremely active in senior softball in town.
Yeah, yeah.
Good man.
They left his desk there. Yeah, it's just nobody goes in here there. So it was a great day, and thank you for that. On the 22nd is the Run for the Sun, the Liz Kelly 5K. At 10:30 starts on River Avenue, and that's a great benefit for the Cancer Center of Stony Brook University.
Well, did you have that figured out in and out of traffic? Almost.
Yeah, we have a meeting.
50% of the people will be happy.
Yes, yes. Southbound people will be very happy, northbound people it's the best mix, and it's also the last time it's ever been done. So, River Avenue is a peninsula, it's extremely hard to close down. Cedar Avenue was also, has several one dead-end streets to it, very hard to close down as well. I'd rather do 10 Christmas lineups than do that. It's extremely difficult. Generally, the people on the south end are very accommodating. Fortunately, it's over in a couple hours, so not worry about it. But David mentioned the holiday boat parade coming up on November 24th. Should be a great event, something that we do every year. As David mentioned, we're all trying to get together to bring everybody back together, the village, the chamber, the riverfront committee, I've attended every meeting. And it's something that the river is it's a great spot that we have in the village, and I think we should all participate a little bit more in it. So I hope we all turn out for that as well. What I've been building up to is that today, or the other day, we received notice from the New York State Department of Health that the Healthy Heart Program and Creating Healthy Places we received our first grant for $2,000 going towards the new putting green in Shorefront Park, which I was completely against. I have to admit. Now, I'm not a golfer. I'm like, what? But
you love myself.
But Paul made me do it. And so the way we got this money was, what they did was Maria and Susan Wilk, who was from the Cornell Carpet Extension, set up a board down at Shorefront with a yes, almost like a yes or no board. And this was one of the, how we qualified for the grant. And people came up and they said, putting green, oh my God, that's great. You know, because it was the parents, some of the dads that had their kids at the playground, or some of the dads, you know, who were down there anyways. And it was extremely popular. So once again, I was pretty wrong. So I'd like to couple this 2,000 that we got from the Healthy Heart Program. And this is something, I mean, we've been trying to get, Mary and I have been going after this Healthy Heart Program for years through walking trails, healthy walking trails. We've designed trails that have gone through the park, gone up behind the Winona, come around the ponds with bird watching stations and all little educational stuff. But it was a putting green that got the money. So I think it's pretty cool.
What just about the putting green? Billy plus my job today. You know, in the last 5 years, we put about $1 million into the parks and pools together. And we just had put up the pirate ship, which came through and ran. And Maria and Bill had put together the other playground, the handicap accessible.
Right.
And Maria, who's just like this ball of energy that sometimes you gotta nail her feet down to slow her down, and then she just pulls the nails out of the ground and keeps running. Also has set for the park workout equipment stations, workout stations that will be around by the playground and shade areas. And I've been speaking to Cablevision about getting Wi-Fi down in that playground area. Because what I really want to do is I want to make that playground area a really family-friendly place where people can go down. You know, it's after work and your kids want to go out, and you still have work to do. You can take your iPad or whatever and do some work. You know, dad or grandpa, you know, the wife says, get the kids out of the house before I strangle them. You can take 4 golf balls and a club, and take the kids down, take them to the park, and still have something for themselves to do. And I think the healthy heart part of it is that what they look at is that the kids will then get involved in an outdoor activity, maybe learn to play a little bit, and make it part of our summer program. But I just think that the park can't have a single use. It can't just be a playground for kids to play on. gotta be a place for parents to participate with their kids, or parents to have a reason and be able to go down with their kids. So, but I look at this whole thing as a putting green, as part of a whole kind of healthy family kind of, where you and your kids and your family, it gives you that opportunity to be part of something. So I just think it's pretty neat,
No, it's great. It's very benign too. It's very quiet.
Yeah.
If I can't get a go-kart track, I guess I'll go for it.
Really passive recreation.
That's fact.
Yeah.
Plain. So, and one thing that I realized that once we start getting grants like this, that there's a lot of money behind it. And being as much as we'd like to go through with this, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to, how should we word it?
Prepare a bid for it to go out to bid.
Right.
Because it is a 25, well, it could be on the side of $25,000.
Right. So I'd like to make a motion to go out to bid on the contract for the putting green with the first cut, as pretty much outlined in this proposal, and not to exceed $25,000. That's a motion.
Yeah.
The $25,000, that's gonna come in the bid, we don't vote to approve that now.
Well,
Don't we
it's-
just approve it, don't
You go out to bid,
put a bid out?
yeah, the bid, but we're not going to exceed that number. We should put a not to exceed number, not to put a not. Because if you put the not to exceed, your bidders know where your limit is. So whatever they got to put in place, they have to put in place within those
Yeah,
numbers.
I guess I was just asking, I understand that that's what's gonna go in the bid, but we don't want to see that. I didn't know that we put that here with that way, that's all.
We don't, yeah, we don't have to.
So, question, Billy, this $2,000 earmarked for putting green?
Yes.
And the bid will just define the size of the green and materials that are going to be used, or?
Yeah, I mean,
Most of them pretty much follow this contract.
right, well, we had a consultant who actually did this for free, that has outlined the sizes of, it's a 900 square foot putting surface with a 250 square foot, the first cut fringe, which is the 1-inch fringe around the putting green where you putt and hold a pin, with a sand bunker and a grass bunker, and 2 50 square foot tee boxes. Yes.
We need to look at it over.
Yeah, the tee boxes, it says within this, here that it's exclusively for the Smith family.
Right, I crossed that off.
Yes. That was one of those.
I think it was a plug-in problem.
This is not proposed.
The thing about it is too, is when we just sit down, the next thing would be is to sit down and actually put the package together, not just.
It's just a recommendation.
Sure, you may end up sitting down,
I'm sure.
you gotta get, whatever.
You're the only golfer on the board, I think.
Billy O'Neill's the most, what, a 7-iron or a 9-iron?
No, it's the second.
It's a 7.
Yeah.
A motion to go out to bid for a, motion.
Second.
Motion by Billy, second by, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you very much. It's exciting.
And I'll tell you, for those, and I'll say it again, you go down to the park and you see what Maria and Billy have done down there over the last several years, and go to the pool and see what has been done down there. And a lot of it at very little cost to the taxpayer. A lot of it done through grants, a lot of it done through sweat equity. A lot of it done through the fact that I think the pool probably had the largest attendance ever this past summer.
Yeah, amazing.
It really has become, and you take that pool, you take the park, you take the ball fields, area field out. We just constantly use,
Yeah.
constantly use. I mean, we have a lot of work to do. I think, the grass needs to be taken care of, and some of those kind of things.
Yeah. What we do have a lot of work to do is, in order to open up the beach at the pool,
Yeah,
there's still, we have to take out a lot of stuff from the hurricane
okay.
before the health department Shorefront, and this is nothing, but we have finally come up with a 5K track that starts and ends at Shorefront and doesn't impact some of the heavier used roads in the village, which means that we could probably lift the moratorium that we've had on any more races. We don't have to close Main Street down, we don't have to close River Avenue, we don't have to close South Ocean. So when we finalize it, the board will approve it, but I think everybody's gonna be very happy with it.
You go through that, some people.
No, you don't.
Me and I.
Yeah, that's the next step.
When I'm going back and forth on the way.
Yeah, right, that's right. It went up and down Smith Street between South Ocean and Bay. So I'm really happy about that. It took us a long time to do that. And it's just great. And last but not least, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to request approval for the American Legion and all the service organizations to use Shorefront Park on Saturday, October 5th, for the annual dignified flag disposal ceremony, beginning at 10:30. The request that DPW dig the pit for the flags, and they need the village signs. That's a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you have never gone to it, it really is pretty neat the way they do it, very inspiring. It was something you guys could put in the paper on the batch. You know, it's to take your old flags, and they burn them, and you have that Boy Scouts, they have the ceremony, and it really is very, very well done. They've done what they're good for your 5 years.
Yeah, it's very respectful.
The fire phone comes down, and they do a ceremony, very well done.
Makes you realize what the flag's all about.
Yeah. Okay, public computer.
Good evening, everyone. John Bojack at 9th Street. Two subjects, and one I think is pretty quick. I just want to clarify something. As some of you might know, the Citizens Campaign for Open Village Government foils the trustee packet prior to every meeting. I noticed that this is what we got for this meeting, and I sense that you have more than this in your possession. Is that it?
No more. That's the only thing I got.
That's the other thing?
A couple of things on my agenda just came when I came. You know, they came in like 5 o'clock tonight.
That and,
We got the agenda, minutes.
And so some of the stuff that was in the packet.
Alessandro,
he was handed,
We just handed that out.
we just handed it to you.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's,
I was a little confused.
no, in fact, if you take a look at the agenda, sometimes you kind of figure out what's in the packet from on the agenda. There's really not a lot of stuff on the agenda that would be in the packet.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to ask.
Yeah. No.
And the second thing I just want to, again, you know, I'm not exactly sure how this is all going to end out. I've been sitting here at these meetings listening about the boat parade, which is, you know, one of the great things we have in the village. I have no doubt about it. Pirates, illuminations, boats, parades, happiness. But, you know, there's another reality, which is where I live, it doesn't turn out that way. Knoxon Street. In fact, I wrote a letter about this last year to you, Mr. Mayor, I'm pretty sure I sent that letter to you, about what happened last year on Knoxon Street. Traffic choked. Off-Key Tiki Bar had no valet parking. Everyone was parking everywhere that they could and wanted to. It wasn't the only activity. The traffic on Knoxon Street cut off other activity. There was a children's party being held down by the Medford upholstery, whatever that is. That was cut off for a while. I called for code enforcement to come. Code enforcement officer, the single code enforcement officer in this chaos of the day, tells me there's nothing he can do. And at that point, there wasn't anything he could do because we didn't even have a settlement with the Off-Key Tiki Bar at that point. Last weekend, I did send out an email to Peter Sarich, and I'm going to make the same point here. We do have an agreement now. 6 months later, some of the parts of that agreement relate to these concerns. We have to have fencing, we have to have traffic controls, we have to have traffic diverted from Knoxon Street to Baker Place. There's supposed to be fire lanes. There's supposed to be a limit of 150 people. 6 months later, none of that has taken place. What we have is a conglomeration of totem poles.
Well, we had a very long and extensive meeting this afternoon on this with Attorney Egan and Building Inspector Sarich, and he's directed to do certain things over the next week, 10 days, and we'll speak about those once they're done.
Okay, well,
Absolutely, it absolutely has not fallen by the wayside. You'll see some good happening.
well, that makes me feel better, because, you know, I like to enjoy the parade too. But I can't have nightmare on Knoxville Street. That's not what I need. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Mark Siegel from Plum.
Can Dad take phone calls at the house?
What?
Can Dad take phone calls at the house? Can your father take phone calls?
Yeah. I know you love the trees, we do too. But there's a tree in front of our store, people drive by and they don't see our store. Is there any way we could cut down the tree? Not cut the tree down, but cut the stuff.
It's gonna grow bigger and then you will see the
Really?
store. Yeah, that tree's gonna get really
By
big.
next week?
No.
Couldn't cut it
I
back?
know that, well,
Well, at least gonna pull off anyway now.
I mean, Ivan comes by like once a year and trims off
Is
some
that-
of the lower branches, so as it gets bigger, you know, the canopy is gonna be up much higher, but they go through a transition where
Yeah.
that's where they are.
Is that-
Can you hang a sign out on the tree wall?
No.
You know that studies have been done that indicate that shopping areas with trees, people spend more time and more money.
But they have to see the name of the store, but we are looking into it. We're gonna be doing renovations.
Yeah,
We're working on these things
Mhm.
for the buildings and everybody.
right.
So we,
I'll ask Ivan to take a look at it
Yeah.
and see if he can open it up. a
right,
little
it's
bit.
just me and my business partner, Sherry, too, because some guy came, some person drove by the other day, Saturday. They said, I couldn't see his store, and they wound up all the way down past 112. They didn't see the name. And it's hard to see, you're driving, and how you gonna look?
But if you come from the east and you drive down that section that had no trees and now has little baby trees,
Yeah,
it looks very barren. You
yeah.
can see the signs, but do you want to?
I like the trees too, don't get me
As soon as
wrong.
you get to the part of town where you
Yeah.
see the trees,
Yeah,
it looks great. I
Yeah.
mean, you feel
Well,
like you've
Yeah,
arrived,
but you gotta know
but
something, there's green and there's green. Now,
Yeah.
there's,
they.
well, no, we're looking at maybe put the name on an awning, what might look better for
Well,
us.
I think a lot of the stores are starting to do the perpendicular signs,
How's
where
that?
they hang out on a bracket.
Oh, okay, I'll
You
tell
know,
her
like
about
Rose
that,
has
yeah.
one, a
Yeah.
lot of the stores have
All
one
right.
now. I think if everybody
We
starts
wanted to get a
do
blinking sign, go.
I
change your life.
love their neon. I like
Thank you. Oh, yeah, it's been there since 52, Abe will tell you.
any other comments? Motion to adjourn? Motion. Second. Second. All in favor? Aye.